Yeah, check 1 2 1 2. Right. Now, you might have thought you've signed up and clicked on the wrong video, and it looks awfully like we're about to drop a rap video. What's happening here? Our gear has actually just been sitting in the cupboard for a bit too long, and we've broken 3 microphones trying to record this. So we're going old school. There will not be a mic drop at the end of this because, quite frankly, 3 microphones to replace already is quite expensive. So this one's going to get looked after. What we are here to talk about today, though, CST tires. Right, as you guys know, if you've been following on social media, we have been given the opportunity to review these tires. Now, these are not a full-on review. We've thrown the 38s in the mud, and previously with little BJ, we threw the 33s in the mud. So we have a little bit of seat time with them, but we don't have seat time on the complete range. So this is basically just a review on sizes, weights, and I guess what I generally think of them by looking at them. I've seen a lot of different tires. I kind of study them a little bit because, well, you know, good tires can make or break a vehicle along with good suspension, but we're not here to talk about that. So what we've got is the CST CL18 Land Dragons. We have 31s, we have them in a 33, we have them in a 36, and we have them in the 35-inch M-Spec, which is the custom designed one. So that is the equivalent to the Maxxis Trepadors and the Mud Trepador. It is a special edition created for the challenging terrain in the Rainforest Challenge in Malaysia, right? And it's pretty cool. I like that one, just saying. Now, what we've got on this side of me is the CAAA. Now, I want to say these have come out about 5 or 6 years ago. These were a cool little tire if you had a Suzuki and you wanted something a little bit different. Still kind of wide. They're a 10.5. They're not crazy skinny. They're not crazy wide, but I think they are personally quite a cool option. Now, CST have come to the table with the CL28 Mud King. They also have the CL98 Mud King, which I personally prefer over the CL28 because it has better center lugs, right? And to me, and I haven't checked this with them, the reason why they don't go all out aggressive agricultural style center blocks on these tires is because all of CST tires, I believe, are DOT rated, right? So that means in most countries, like America, you need some kind of certification, and so DOT is the sort of official term to get most of these tires on the road, and CST do their best in all their tires to do that, right? So you look at these and you go, oh man, the center lugs are quite close together. That to me is the reason why. So we're going to start with this. I'm going to go out and say my personal favorite of the whole lot. It is the smallest tire designed for Suzukis, or maybe you could stick them on your Pajero Junior, something like that. But these, to me, are the most aggressive, the coolest looking, and the lightest of the bunch. So this tire is a 31, 10.5 on a 16-inch rim. And I like it. I think that you guys with Suzukis need a set of these in your life. Reasons why I like it. It is flat profile. Yes, it is slightly radius, kind of like a radial tire has a bit of a round carcass, right? These are a flat. I like that, right? And the thing that I love the most is big lugs sticking off the side of the tire. That certainly helps you in those scenarios where you just can't get enough traction and you sit there and turn your wheels back and forth, and you get a bit of bite, and then you're away laughing. I think fantastic tire. If you got a Suzuki with a little bit of power or a lot of power, that is going to put a smile on your dial at the top of all the hills. And guess what? It weighs a whopping 19.5 kilograms. And if you convert that into freedom units, it's about 43 pounds. And it measures out to be about 771 millimeters as it stands. No rim, no air. When we convert that 771 millimeters into freedom units, right? If we go from the system that NASA uses, which is the glorious metric system, into the the freedom units, we're going to be talking about 30.5 inches. Not a bad size for your Zook. Over here, the 33-inch by 11.5, 15. These are the ones we ran on Little BJ, and I've got to say I was impressed with them. They hooked up well. As I will always say, and I'll continue to say, it is very, very hard to judge a new tire without having it broken in. They need a bit of time to break in the sidewalls, soften up. They will eventually start to bag out a little bit better, and they will just give you more traction, right? So you're going to get your Hilux Surf, and you want to try and blow all the CVs into next week. You want to send the part numbers from the inside of your diff to the outside, drop all the oil back to where it came from. These are probably going to be the tire you want to do it with. They'll look cool on Instagram, they will make you happy, and you'll get stuck less. So it's less embarrassment for you, all right? So give them a think, and they might just be the option for you. Now, the weight of these 33s, you're looking at 24 kilograms, which comes out to be about 53 pounds. And it's 800 millimeters, which converts to about 31.6. Now, my personal favorite of the bigger tires, because I love that little 31, the 35 M-Spec. Now, this is designed for the Rainforest Challenge in mind. Crazy terrains, high horsepower, cool vehicles, getting the job done deep in the rainforest, always a good time. So this tire comes in one size and only one size. Much like the Mud Trepidor, it is a specialist one-off design tire that you can get your hands on. And I personally think, because it's skinny, it's only 10.5 inches wide, that this tire is going to work fantastically in the clay and in conditions where you wouldn't normally be able to find traction that easily. I just think with the right vehicle, the right pressure, it's going to be biting down hard, and the lugs are slightly more squared up, whereas the other ones sort of sit on an angle. These ones are more squared up. It is a different compound, and the lug spacing is slightly different also. And again, we've got these beautiful lugs sticking off the side a little bit, ready to party. So the 35-inch M-Spec comes in at 29 kilograms, which is about 64 pounds. A very light tire, I must say. I am impressed. I do think they will withstand quite substantial abuse. They do have the extra sidewall protection, these sort of side biting lugs on here, and they are light, but they feel very well built, if that makes sense. Maybe it's just the way they've designed it, these little ribs and stuff they put in here to eject stones or whatever. It just feels like a solid tire. As for height, it stands at 892 millimeters. It is what they call a true to size tire. It measures at 35.2 inches unmounted as it stands. And it is quite a big tire. And I think once you get them in the mud, you're going to be hooked on them, or they'll hook up for you, and you may find too much traction and break something. So, second to last in the CL18 range is the 36 12.5. This one's a 16. If you like wide tires and you want traction, these will work. These are a wicked looking tire. I like the wide. As I say, the 35 M-Spec, still kind of my pick, but between the two of these, whichever you prefer, the wide or the skinny, you're gonna be happy with them. I've seen them work and they hook up pretty impressively. The thing I like about the 36 is it, to me, almost looks like the 33, but they've just blown up the whole package, right? It doesn't look like the same tire that's been made bigger. It looks like it's all been stretched out of proportion, and the lug spacing is way bigger, deeper. It's got these nice little cutouts. I mean, obviously they've got them on the 33 as well, but everything just seems that much more bigger and more aggressive and ready to party. They also, being the 12.5, they look fantastic on the bigger rigs, on the patrols, that kind of 80 series stuff, they would look awesome. The 36 comes in at a very light 31 kilos, which is about 68.3 pounds, which is impressive for a tire of this size. Paired with an alloy wheel, I think you're going to reduce a whole lot of rotating mass, and it's going to help keep your vehicle together longer. Now the 36 and the 35 actually come in at the same height, 892 millimeters, 35.2 inches. So It definitely comes down to whether you like the skinny or the fat, and whichever one's going to work better for you, because you're not really going to lose anything height-wise. Maybe a touch when they're mounted and aired up or down, you might lose minuscule amounts. Now, the final piece in the CL18 puzzle that many people didn't actually know existed is the 38, 12.5, 15. Good for you guys at running 15-inch rims, which are quite common here in New Zealand. I know Australia and America, you guys often run mainly 17s, but 16s do creep into the mix quite often. For a 38-inch tyre, I was very impressed at the weight. They came in at 35.5 kilos, which is approximately 78 pounds. Very light, which is good, because again, you want to reduce that rotating mass. What I have noticed about these is they are not as aggressive. So the CL18 seems to come in two different, almost identical, but different tread patterns. And we'll get into that a bit more in a second. Right, but the 38s measure out, these are mounted. I completely forgot, because I was in a mad panic to get them mounted so we could get them in the dirt. I completely forgot to measure them before I mounted them. So my apologies on that one, but mounted at about 18 psi, you're looking at 935 millimeters, which is about a 36.8 at 18 psi mounted on 8-inch wide wheel. One thing to note, the tread design on the 38, and I've noticed the 33 over here, they both have a very round profile. Which can be good and bad, but I've also noticed that they are not as aggressive as the 31, 35, or 36. I personally don't think that is a bad thing. Okay, they're still aggressive, they're still going to bite hard, but they're not super aggressive, which means you're not going to be snapping axles and you're going to take a lot of load off your drivetrain by not having that extra bite with the extra weight. And you're going to be relying a little bit more on the extra height to get your diff pumpkins out of the crap and where you need to be going, right? They are a cool tyre. I do like them. And we have in store for you an announcement when we start releasing the videos. But let's just say there could be something parked behind me that is going to be wearing these tyres, and it's going to look phenomenal when it's done. That is all I'll say on that matter. Now on to the CL28 Mud King. This tyre is kind of cool. It's a suitable size for the harder core Suzuki guys that don't mind chopping the guards and or taking the risk on running such a big tyre on such a little axle. The ground clearance would be phenomenal. If you've got Hilux diffs or something else under and you want to sort of step up but not go all the way, these would be a good option. I think that'd work. I quite like them. Right, they do look similar to a few other tyres that are on the market. Different centre lugs, a very unique centre lug design on these ones. I do think for a lighter vehicle, that is a very valid option. It's gonna come down to personal preference, really, whether you want to go with this one, with the C888, or you want to go with the CL18. CL28, it's a 32, 10.5, 16-inch rim. It weighs 22 kilos and is approximately 48.5 pounds. Again, another reasonably light tyre. Stands tall at 793 millimeters, which is approximately 31.2 inches. It's pretty good size. It'll probably be quite true to size once it's mounted on, say, a 7 or 8-inch rim with a few PSIs of wind in it. Final piece of the puzzle on this video is the CST C888. As I mentioned previously, this tyre has been around, sort of a hidden secret, I guess. I've never really seen any in the wild. It's been around for, I would say, 5 or 6 years. It is a cool option if you want a little bit of width in a small tyre, say a Suzuki or something like a farm run-around vehicle. In wintertime, you just need that extra bit of traction. These tyres will do fantastically. Now, this one comes in at 21 kilos, 46.3 pounds. It measures out to 760 millimeters, which is about a 29.9. So It is a valid option, although it is a touch smaller and nowhere near as aggressive as the 31 CL18. There is honestly not a whole lot in it. Well, I hope that we've answered enough of your questions. We have calmed your curious mind about these CST tyres, and that's going to be us. That's the end of the video. I'm sorry. I did everything I could to keep it as long as possible. But me standing here like an MC in a rap battle has just got to be a strange thing to watch. Let us know in the comments below which tyre you guys would be taking home and which one you think is going to serve your purpose best. I love this little 31. I think it is a cool little tyre. But if we're stepping up into proper tyres, into a bigger size, that M-Spec has my name on it for certain applications. Like parking up in the shed. Right, thank you guys for watching once again, and as always, I am your host, Caleb Thompson. This is Off-Road Addiction TV, and we'll see you guys on the next one. I really hope it involves getting stuck in the mud, not sitting down in my workshop. But hey, thank you guys for watching. We'll be back.